News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun.
Hello and welcome tonight. PDP governors insist National Convention will hold in November as scheduled. President Bola Tinubu declares Nigeria has reached 2025 revenue target without borrowing. Federal government and National Assembly endorse WAEC's transition to CBT by 2026. And North Korea's Kim Jong-un arrives in Beijing with daughter for grand military parade.
On business, Bureau of Public Enterprises to list 2 electricity distribution companies on Nigerian Stock Exchange.
On sports news tonight, Super Eagles begin preparations in Uyo with first training session ahead of the crucial 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier against Rwanda this Saturday.
And from the nation's capital, National Safety Investigation Bureau to release report on Abuja-Kaduna train derailment in 23 days.
Party politics takes the lead as the People's Democratic Party has reaffirmed its commitment to holding a national elective convention in November, insisting that the scheduled date remains unchanged. Speaking in Abuja at the inauguration of the 119-member Convention Planning Committee, the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum urged members to brace up for the task ahead, stressing that the party will no longer condone acts of indiscipline.
The National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party, members of the party's Governors Forum, and the party's Board of Trustees are here for the inauguration of the Organizing Committee for the 2025 National Convention.
We know that politics is dynamic.
Before inaugurating the committee, the National Chairman of the PDP reaffirms the party's determination to ensure that the planned convention holds as scheduled, despite what they describe as distractions.
While the faction that broke out has not garnered much traction, we know that politics is dynamic, and the ruling class may seek to capitalize on or even sponsor such distractions to weaken the PDP. Many of these distractive voices have come from individuals who have benefited immensely from the party. As you know, the 2025 National Convention is scheduled to hold in Ibadan, and that is sacrosanct. I want to make it very clear.
In a similar vein, governors elected on the PDP platform urged members of the party to brace up for a fight, insisting that indiscipline will no longer be tolerated.
We will no longer allow or tolerate anybody to take us for granted. It has to stop. Enough is enough. We are not going to tolerate any longer. But certainly time has come when we must flex our muscles. We are not cowards and we are not afraid of anybody.
Meanwhile, the secretary of the PDP Board of Trustees speaks on the recent zoning arrangement of the party.
The party has zoned its positions north-south. North can sit and do what they wish, South can sit and do what they wish, but that should not deny any individual who disagrees by testing his will. Buy the form, go to the field, and test your capacity.
The PDP National Chairman then proceeds with the inauguration of the Convention Planning Committee.
I'm presenting this flag as a symbol.
The committee is charged with the planning and execution of all arrangements relating to the planned November 15 to 16 elective convention, as the chairman promises to deliver on his mandate.
We know and we're quite aware
that a lot of expectation is expected of us and in this convention. And we are bringing into bear our wealth of experience.
With the committee inaugurated, all is now set for the planned convention, where the PDP hopes to elect new leaders that will pilot the affairs of the party into the 2027 general election and beyond.
Meanwhile, ahead of the 2027 presidential election, some concerned stakeholders of the People's Democratic Party have cautioned against any attempt to microzone the party's ticket. They are also demanding the immediate conduct of congresses in Ekiti, Ebonyi, and Anambra states. The resolution was reached after several hours of a closed-door meeting at the official residence of the FCT minister in Abuja. The group also warned that the forthcoming PDP National Convention could be declared invalid if their demands are not addressed. Our correspondent, Kumbi Aboluade, reports.
For a second time, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory is hosting some members of the People's Democratic Party under the aegis of the concerned PDP stakeholders from across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT at his official residence in Abuja. Those in attendance include the former governors of Benue and Abia states, Mr. Samuel Otom and Mr. Okeze Ikpazu, present and former federal lawmakers, Rivers State lawmakers led by the Speaker of the House, some PDP party state chairmen, amongst others.
This is a meeting of like minds in the People's Democratic Party. We have met before, and we try to reconvene to discuss about the state of affairs of our party and how we can forge ahead.
Thereafter, the meeting then resolves into a closed-door session. After about 3 hours, the meeting reconvenes and a communique is read by the former governor of Benue State, Mr. Samuel Otom.
Our resolutions and demands. 1. We call on the National Working Committee to urgently conduct fresh, transparent, and inclusive congresses in Ebonyi State and Anambra. 2. The Ekiti State Local Government Area Councils Congress should be conducted immediately on zoning of party offices, whereas we further and very strongly hold that there should be no form of microzoning for peace and stability within the party. It is pertinent to caution that failure to comply with the above resolutions and demands shall render any purported national convention invalid, as legitimate members of the party would be disenfranchised.
Other demands include the adoption of the South-South Zonal Congress held in Calabar, Cross River State, and the fresh conduct of the Southeast Zonal Congress, as the group believes it is on these conditions that the proposed PDP National Convention, scheduled for November 2025, can hold hitch-free. From Abuja, Kumbi Aboluade, Channels Television News.
In Rivers, just days after the conduct of the local government elections, the chairman of the All Progressives Congress in the state, Tony Okocha, has announced the party's willingness to work with suspended Governor Simonalayi Fubara once he is reinstated by the president. Speaking at a press conference in Port Harcourt, Mr. Okocha explained that the APC is open to collaborating with the state governor in the interest of the state, but emphasized that the party would not shy away from constructively criticizing any policy deemed unfavorable.
Sweeping effect of PDP. Don't forget that PDP owned these states. People said it was PDP states. All right? And then you go and make the mistake of you want to field candidates because you want to field candidates. You'll be missing the point. You just will be saying it. So we allowed it to go. On Ega, the same thing. On the 18th of September, the executive governor Fubara returns. It couldn't have been a prophecy. We know that it is real. 6 months will elapse on the 18th of September. There are some states where you have a governor seated, the assembly members, governor of a political party, the assembly members are more in another political party, but it is a relationship. So we are going to cooperate with the governor, but again, not to take away our rights to criticize the governor when he does the wrong thing. But for us, the council chairman, we will work with him. Us will work with him as I speak to you, except that we will not agree to obnoxious policies.
President Bola Tinubu has announced that Nigeria is not borrowing and has successfully met its revenue target for the year. The president made the remark while receiving a delegation of former members of the defunct Congress for Progressive Change, CPC, led by former Nasarawa State Governor Senator Tanko Almakure. During the visit, the delegation commended President Tinubu for steering the country through difficult economic challenges and for preserving the legacy of their late leader and mentor, former President Muhammadu Buhari. Our status correspondent Larry Lasisi reports.
It's a gathering of members of the defunct Congress for Progressive Change, the CPC, led by the former Nasarawa State Governor, Senator Tanko Almakura. Also in attendance is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, 7 governors, former governors, legislators, 7 and former ministers, and aides to the president. They're in the State House for a meeting with President Bola Tinubu. The leader of the delegation appreciates President Tinubu for honoring their late leader and mentor, former President Muhammadu Buhari, during his funeral. The speaker added that the president has their support.
Your gesture was a powerful statement of dignity, loyalty, and legacy. For that, Mr. President, we thank you from the depth of our hearts.
We will continue to gather support for you, for your government, your administration, and for 2027, inshallah. CPC members will be at the forefront of your support.
The president applauds them for their visit and support. He assures them that he will continue to work for the good of the country.
Many of you had to suffer the initial abuse and the fear. Where are we going? We know the direction that we should go. We are going up. No, those who may not know will not know. Today I'm standing before you, I can brag that Nigeria is not borrowing, it's dying from local bank. The revenue, we have met our target of revenue for the whole year. We met it in August. I've reviewed this morning.
He says more is also being done.
If non-oil revenue is going well, then we have no fear of whatever Trump is doing on the other side. And I've just signed off on a huge mechanization, program that every region we have.
Following this meeting, the president also received a delegation of Katsina State stakeholders.
Normally, we politicians are known to be afraid of the next election. But decisions you have taken on behalf of this country are decisions that show that you love the country more than the next election.
The president outlined steps being taken to address the security challenges in the state.
I'm reviewing all the aspects of the security. It might be necessary
Instead of all this civilian, this method this or JTV, civilian that, I have to create state police. We are looking at that holistically.
The president assured them that all will be done to protect the people and defeat those behind the security challenges. From the presidential villa, Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, West African Examinations Council gets federal government and National Assembly backing for its computer-based testing of CBT migration in the year 2026. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. PDP governors insist National Convention will hold in November as scheduled. President Bola Tinubu declares Nigeria has reached 2025 revenue target without borrowing. Federal government and National Assembly endorse WAEC's transition to CBT, that's computer-based testing, by 2026. And North Korea's Kim Jong-un arrives in Beijing with daughter for grand military parade. Ahead of the full transition from paper-based examinations to computer-based testing by the West African Examinations Council, WAEC, in 2026, the federal government has expressed strong support for the initiative. Speaking at a sensitization meeting with members of the National Assembly and key stakeholders in Abuja, Minister of Education, Mr. Tunji Alausa, said the adoption of CBT nationwide will strengthen and transform the framework of student assessment in Nigeria's education sector.
Members of the National Assembly Committees on Education, school proprietors, principals of secondary schools and other stakeholders converge for this sensitization meeting on the introduction of computer-based test by the West African Examination Council. The reason for the migration from paper-based examination to computer-based test is highlighted.
Feedback from the deployment and use of the system and key benefits. Faster results and immediate feedback for students, helping them understand strengths and areas for improvement without delay, enhance security measures that minimize the risk of examination malpractice, and protect the integrity of examinations.
Achievement examination remain the most accurate process of assessing a child. So with the CBT exam, there is no doubt we'll be sure of accurate assessment that is devoid of any examination malpractice.
The initiative, which is aimed at eliminating examination malpractice, receives the backing of the National Assembly.
We need to align with what happens elsewhere. So the introduction, as it were, of technology is an idea whose time has come.
The integrity of certificates issued by the regional examination body is of concern to the federal government.
The shift to designated computer-based centers will drastically reduce exam malpractice and safeguard the credibility of our examinations. This will further enhance the reputation and the credibility of examinations both locally and internationally.
Allaying the fears of Nigerians over the issue of infrastructure deficits in some parts of the country, the examination body insists there is no cause for alarm.
The issue of infrastructure is something we are working about, and I want to assure us no infrastructure will stop this program. No candidate will be disadvantaged. No candidate will be unable to write their exam. So all registered candidates will write their exam. That's an assurance.
Although the pilot's computer-based test commenced in 2024, Nigerians have been assured of a hitch-free conduct of a computer-based examination come 2026.
So let's now head to the nation's capital, where Millicent Walker is standing by to give us the latest from our Abuja studios. Over to you, Millicent.
Thank you, Ayatunde. Good to see you, by the way. All 12 passengers sustained injuries out of 583 people on board the Asham train that derailed in Kaduna from Abuja. Now, that's according to the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau. The Director General of the NSIB, Captain Alex Bade Jr., disclosed this while providing updates on the ongoing investigation. He explained that an investigator in charge has been appointed to lead the probe in collaboration with relevant stakeholders, including the Nigerian Railway Corporation.
The ongoing investigation, as outlined in Part 5 of the regulation, will include detailed inspection of the site, switch, track geometry and infrastructure, review of NRC records, crew, station, control, maintenance and operation data, technical examination of locomotives, coaches and other rolling stock, interviews with crew, staff, responders, passengers and witnesses, with statements taken under affirmation where required. Correlation of all evidence, including organizational information from the operator, to determine causal and contributing factors. The final report will then be released by the Director General of the NSIB to recipients, including the Minister, the operator, international bodies if applicable, and made publicly available. As Director General of the NSIB, I would like to use this opportunity to urgently plead with the government and all relevant stakeholders to immediately address the critical shortfall of funding, which will enable the NSIB to procure advanced investigation equipment and adequately train our dedicated investigators. Any inaction on this front will inevitably lead to more accidents and more injuries, and tragically preventable loss of life amongst Nigerians who realize on safe transportation.
And here in the federal capital, it's another commissioning for the minister, Nyesom Wike, who has pledged to resolve 80% of the accommodation challenges faced by judicial officers in the nation's capital before the end of President Bola Tinubu's tenure. Mr. Wike made the commitment during the flag-off ceremony for the construction of a magistrate court in the Jabi district of Abuja.
The Federal Capital Territory Administration is taking on the judicial sector with the flag-off of construction of a magistrate court in Jabi district of the nation's capital. The project is a 4-story building which comprises a library, office spaces, magistrate chambers, conference room, among others.
The contract for the construction and furnishing of this magistrate court in Jabi district is one of 3 recently embarked upon by this administration. The others are in Gariki and Asokoro districts respectively. It sits on a plot of about 3,500 square meters, and the contractor is Messrs. Police Realty Nigeria Limited.
The Chief Judge of the FCT High Court, who was represented at the occasion, lauded the initiative by the FCT administration.
The construction of this state-of-the-art facility, that is the Magistrate Court Complex Jabi, stands as a symbol of Your Excellency's enduring pursuit of an environment that fosters professionalism within the judiciary and provides the necessary infrastructure to support quick and effective justice system rooted in public trust and confidence.
The FCT minister pledges to do more, promising to address 80% of the accommodation challenges of judicial officers in the FCT.
I have been going around, and sometimes when you see where our judges and magistrates sit, it's very, very embarrassing. Let me assure you, before the end of the first tenure of Mr. President, we would have solved 80% of your accommodation problems before this tenure ends. Our revenue generation increased because of the support of the FCT High Court. So I thank my Lord, the CJ, for putting every machinery to enhance our revenue generation.
The minister then lays the foundation for the project. This project, which was awarded in May 2025, is expected to be completed in 18 months. Meanwhile, the minister of the FCT paid a condolence visit to the family of the FCT head of service, Grace Adailo, who died September 1, 2025. From Abuja, Kumbi Aboluade, Channels Television News.
We head to health now, where the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohamed Partey, says Nigeria's health system is undergoing significant homegrown reforms aimed at improving population health outcomes. He stated this while receiving a delegation from Senegal's Ministry of Health and Social Action in Abuja during a Program for Results P4R working exchange visit.
Our ministry would also learn from what you have been doing.
You're watching the news at 10, coming to you live from our Abuja studios. Well, still staying with healthcare, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has lauded the Bauchi state government, and this is for its commitment to tackling malnutrition through the release of a 300 million naira counterpart child nutrition fund. UNICEF country representative Wafa Saeed expressed appreciation for the state's efforts during a courtesy visit to Governor Bala Mohammed at the state capital. Our correspondent, Hajara Aliyu, has more.
The new UNICEF country representative to Nigeria, Wafa Saeed, is on a familiarization visit to Bauchi State. During her meeting with Governor Bala Mohammed, she expresses a strong desire for deeper collaboration with the state in health and education. In particular, she notes the state's 300 million naira commitment to the Child Nutrition Fund, a move she describes as uplifting and commendable.
You know, this fund is a global fund, so what is done here in Bauchi State is an example not only for Nigeria, but for the region, for our continent, for the globe. So thank you so much for your leadership, because everything that's been done is being actually doubled.
In response, Governor Mohammed assures the UNICEF team of his administration's commitment to sourcing additional funds to scale up nutrition programs across the states.
We are sincere in our commitment. We don't lie here. Except for nutrition, we are not just giving this money. I will also ask the secretaries to the government and all project-related ministries to work with our contractors to put money in the nutrition fund, so that it is not only the state government, local governments, public sector individuals, so that we can extend to 500 or even 1 billion because they are here.
The governor also acknowledges the pressing challenges in the education sector, especially child retention. Earlier, he convened a high-level meeting with the leadership of the Academic Staff Union of Universities and the All Nigeria Confederation of Principals of Secondary Schools in the state to address critical issues affecting the education sector.
I called you so that we can discuss some of the few things that we can do quickly. It is not everything we can solve. At least we should be proactive, not reactive. It is not when you go on strike that we are going to do that.
He notes that while progress has been made, more needs to be done to improve the quality of education in Bauchi State before the end of his tenure. Hajara Aliyu, Channels Television News.
And that's it from the nation's capital. It's back to Ayotunde in Lagos.
Thank you so much, Millicent. Operatives of the Federal Operations Unit Zone A of the Nigeria Customs Service have intercepted a cache of firearms along with more than 4,000 rounds of ammunition, among other items. The recoveries were made during coordinated operations across Ogun and Ondo states in Nigeria's southwest region.
The Nigeria Customs Service Federal Operations Unit Zone A in another round of collaboration with sister security agencies. This time, the unit patrol team intercepted a Nissan Almera vehicle along Ilara Bush Path near the Ogun border. They discovered several rounds of ammunition concealed under clothing and food parks.
The items intercepted are as follows: 14 use Joseph Magnum semi-automatic firearms designed in Italy, and then 1 use Mosel pump-action shotgun made in US. A total of 15 assorted firearms and 4,841 rounds of ammunition, 2 cartons of Dano spaghetti, 20 pieces per carton, 2 belts and 1 sack of used clothing.
Another team in a separate operation along the Akure-Ore axis in Ondo State also intercepted a Volkswagen Sprinter bus carrying 2 industrial drones without verifiable document. The items are handed over to the Southwest Coordinator of the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons for further investigation and prosecution.
Further investigation of the bus confirms the drones are to be industrial drones without proper documents. 1 suspect was arrested in connection with the seizure. The drones, second-hand clothing, and cartons of spaghetti have a duty-paid value of about 377,110,800,000 naira only.
Discovery, this interception, is a testament to our collective resolve to rid our society of the relentless effort of the death marshals. It is evident that their efforts is coming to naught. My admonition to them is to retrace their steps and turn a new leaf, as it is undoubtedly confirmed that the long arms of the law will eventually catch up with them.
This latest seizure buttresses the fact that the importation of arms, ammunition, or drones into Nigeria requires valid permits and an end-user certificate from the Office of the National Security Advisor.
Diaspora returns, business beyond borders. An initiative of Strategic Solutions Global has emphasized that Nigeria and the African continent hold vast potential for growth and development. The project's initiator, Nancy Aragbaye, made this known while addressing journalists at a press conference held at Eco Hotel and Suites to announce the forthcoming global entrepreneurship event scheduled for November in Lagos.
This press briefing marks the beginning of a journey to bring needed investment into Nigeria by diasporas primarily of African descent. The upcoming conference will provide the platform for the realization of connecting African business and investment.
All of the children of diaspora, those with connection and those who are yearning for it, to return with intention, bringing your talents, your skills, your resources and your investments back here so jobs can be created and business can be done proper on a global level.
Lagos is not only open for business, but ready to deliver experiences of international standards, which is why in the last few years we have embraced the powerful and inspiring mission to position Lagos and Nigeria as a global hub for world-class events and cultural tourism.
This conference will serve as a gateway to a global ecosystem designed for entrepreneurs looking to scale, collaborate, and make an impact beyond borders. To make this historic forum a success, it will require both local and international partners.
We are shaping the future where collaborations know no bound and impact knows no limit. So we encourage all of you to be part of the Diaspora Returns. Tell it to those that need to hear about it.
I'm very confident. I'm confident because I've already spoken to some of those that are interested in coming, so I know they are on board. So they will be here, and based on the hospitality that I've received already in just the few hours, very inviting. And, you know, I think hospitality is key and one of the things that we're looking for. So I'm very confident.
The Strategic Solutions Global and the Diaspora Returns delegation will be in Nigeria between the 17th to 25th of November 2025, an avenue for international opportunities, strategic partnerships, and transformational growth.
Business News is up next with Dominic Iwiwu.
Thank you, Ayotunde. On business news, the Bureau of Public Enterprises, BPE, is set to list 2 electricity distribution companies and 1 generation company for the initial public offer in the Nigerian Stock Exchange market. The Director General of the agency, Mr. Ayodeji Beleye, made this known during a press conference in Abuja. However, he did not disclose the names of the companies for the purpose of corporate confidentiality. The BPE chief also revealed that shareholders' loan agreements were recently executed for 10 out of the 11 discos, while the disbursement of the loan would begin any moment soon.
There is also a presidential power initiative in the transmission sector aimed at expanding and also increasing capacity in that sector. Distribution sector, we privatize a total of 11 discos. Out of the 11, 4 of them, the core investors are still the same as we started out in 2013. 7 of them have been restructured one way or the other, either by way of banks intervening or other forms of regulatory intervention. Today, we see that sector potentially a good candidate for an IPO on the Nigerian exchange, and we are currently working on that as well. The second component is the program for results, where we expect to disburse by way of shareholder loan to the 11 discos, a total sum of $250 million. This will enable them implement management information system upgrade and improve their overall performance. It will also enable them rehabilitate most of their medium voltage and low voltage distribution line to improve power access for Nigerians. Today, 10 out of the 11 discos have signed that loan agreement, and disbursements should begin to be undertaken any moment from now.
The Director General of the Debt Management Office, Patience Oneha, says synergy between the DMO and state governments is crucial for effective national debt management. She made this known in an interview at the end of the World Bank-assisted workshop on borrowing guidelines for top policy under the United States Action on Business Enabling Reforms Program for Results. The DMO DG also challenged state governments to explore public-private partnerships, options for infrastructure financing, and avoid borrowing as a major funding source.
We operate a fiscal federalism system, so the other states will take the decisions that are appropriate for them. But what we definitely can say is that even the external loans that the states have are concessional, meaning the cost interest is very low and they are for long tenors, okay, and they are financing social development projects at the grassroots level. Apart from the provision of the law regarding why they should borrow, the Fiscal Responsibility Act. So if they borrow to finance projects, if you pick social projects like health or education, we know what will happen. Health delivery would improve, school environment, school conditions would improve. They borrow to finance projects like road and toilet, revenues will come. So it not only improves the quality of life, but generates revenues as well for the state.
The stock market sustained bearish sentiments into the second day of September due to continued sell pressure by investors. Willie Bong tells us more.
Welcome to the Stock Market Report. It's day 2 of trading at the NGX for the month of September, and the bear still has a strong grip on the market as the all-share index dipped further today by 0.67%. Now we're way below 140,000. We're at 138,780 points, and stocks driving this negative performance. It cuts across all sectors. We see banking, insurance, and consumer goods. We're down today. Now the banks, the delayed results, for earnings, interim dividends, also cooling, the rally we've seen for that counter. It posted, its second straight day of loss this week, 0.63% down. And now insurance is also massively down today, over 2.2% down. And this is a result of the sustained profit-taking in insurance stocks. ICO, Consolidated Allmark, and Prestige Assurance, they got the bitter taste of investors' appetite. Now, the big names in the consumer goods sector, Dangote Sugar, we'll say Cadbury, International Breweries, they threw a sucker punch, and that brought that index down today, 1.35%. Market index, I mentioned earlier, is now below 140,000 points, but will it keep going lower? We'll find out tomorrow, and those are the highlights. Will Ibang signing out.
And we end business news with snapshots of major global markets closing figures for Tuesday. And that's it on Business News. Back to Ayotunde for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you so much, Dominic. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has arrived in Beijing, the Chinese capital, along with his daughter Kim Ju-ae, to attend China's largest ever military event, Victory Day Parade, on Wednesday. Here's Simon Pusey with more on this and other international news in Around the World in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Russia's leader Vladimir Putin has said ties with Chinese President Xi Jinping are at an unprecedented level as the two met in Beijing on the eve of a massive military parade. Mr. Putin described Xi as a dear friend, with Russia planning to increase supplies of gas to China, while Beijing will offer visa-free travel to Russians during a year-long trial. Mr. Xi will host China's largest ever military parade on Wednesday to mark the 80th anniversary of the formal surrender of the Japanese at the end of World War II.
For Modi, this is a big opportunity, but also, of course, for Putin and for Xi and the other dictators who will show up in China, this is an opportunity to sort of reaffirm the axis of aggressors, or the axis of autocrats, if you will, and their cooperation in the defense of their regimes against what they see as democratic encroachment. Now, the democratic world is at the same time sort of much less cohesive than it has been in the past, because you have President Trump, who has made overtures to President Putin, but not so much to fellow democracies in Europe.
Meanwhile, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has arrived in Beijing to meet with his Chinese and Russian counterparts. It is the first time in his 14-year rule that Mr. Kim has joined a multilateral event, and it is the first time all three leaders have met, with commentators saying the visit is designed to demonstrate trilateral solidarity against the United States. Mr. Kim, who does not like to fly, took his trademark green armoured train to Beijing. Rescuers are using helicopters to search for survivors in the ruins of remote villages in eastern Afghanistan after a powerful earthquake killed 800 people and injured 1,800 others. Many are feared trapped under the rubble of their homes after the magnitude 6 earthquake struck on Sunday near the country's border with Pakistan. Authorities searched by air for the second day on Tuesday as roads blocked with debris and mountainous terrain in the affected areas made land travel difficult. The Taliban government has appealed for international help.
What a tragedy for a country that has far more than its share of tragedies. I don't expect a big inflow of aid. It certainly won't come from the United States, where Donald Trump has eliminated the U.S. Agency for International Development, the principal agency in the U.S. government to provide disaster assistance. It won't be coming significantly from the United Nations. The Taliban are not very popular any place.
A UN official says a landslide has killed at least 370 people in the remote Mara Mountains in western Sudan. The UN's Deputy Humanitarian Coordinator for Sudan said that it was hard to assess the scale of the incident or the exact death toll, as the area was very hard to reach. Sudan Liberation Movement Army, the armed group in control of the affected area, had earlier said as many as 1,000 people could have died. A flotilla of boats headed for Gaza carrying 350 pro-Palestinian activists, including climate change campaigner Greta Thunberg, has departed from Barcelona. Around 20 vessels displaying Palestinian flags left the Spanish port at 7 p.m. local time on Monday, stocked with medical and food supplies. The flotilla first attempted to set sail on Sunday but had to return to port due to stormy weather. The aim of the mission is to break Israel's illegal siege on Gaza, the organisers said, though a previous attempt to reach Gaza by sea was intercepted by Israeli forces. The coup trial of Brazil's right-wing former president, Jair Bolsonaro, has entered its final stage. He is accused of masterminding an attempt to stay in power after losing his bid for re-election in 2022, which culminated in his supporters breaking into and vandalizing government buildings in the capital. A panel of 5 Supreme Court judges is expected to reach a verdict by the 12th of September. Mr. Bolsonaro has always denied any wrongdoing and said the charges were politically motivated. And northern lights have been spotted across the UK for the first time this autumn. From northern Scotland, North Wales to Norfolk and Kent, the bright colours of the aurora were visible after a strong solar storm. Space weather forecasters highlighted the chance of the aurora on Monday afternoon after satellites monitoring solar activity picked up an eruption on the surface of the sun, known as a coral mass ejection.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. 15 Super Eagles players were involved in the team's first training session at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium this evening as the 3-time African champions get down to business ahead of Saturday's 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying must-win showdown with Rwanda. Team captain William Truss Ekong, goalkeeper Mas Obasogie, and defenders Bruno Yamachi and Felix Agu were involved in the training. Forwards Moses Simon, wing-back Ola Aino, defenders Bright Osai Samuel and Calvin Bassi, as well as midfielder Alex Iwobi, also sweated it out in the day's training session. Tolu Aroko Dare, Cyril Dessers, Ademola Lukman and Victor Osime, as well as midfielder Rafael Yedika, are among the few players still being expected in camp. From football now to the US. Seems to be in the form of his life, Carlos Alcaraz. That's sports. I'm Kelly. Egi, guys, back to you today.
Many thanks, Kelly. And the main news again. Our President Bola Tinubu today declared Nigeria has reached its 2025 revenue target without borrowing. He made this known in a meeting with a delegation of the defunct Congress for Progressive Change, the CPC. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. You have a good night.